Hi, and welcome back to an episode of SportsCenter. Today we'll have a special edition where we talk to some former players who will be sharing their career-ending injuries. There's one thing that all these athletes have in common. They all had joint injuries. As you may all know, joints have two functions, holding the bones together and giving the skeleton the ability to move. We classify joints into two sections, functionally and structurally. Today we'll be only focusing on the structural classification. Now we will move over to Tyson, where she will be interviewing the athletes. Tyson.
Thank you, Hamilton. Here we are with Parrish Priester. Parrish was a professional water polo player. He was hit in the head with a ball that damaged his sutures and his skull. A suture is a fibrous tissue that unifies the bones together and allows no movement. Now, Parrish, tell us how you felt.
Thank you, Tyson. Well, all I can remember is that after the accident, I was rushed to the emergency room, and as I woke a couple hours later, I was dizzy, lightheaded, and my balance was uncoordinated. Shortly thereafter, I was told water polo will no longer be a part of my life.
Another example of fibrous tissue is syndesmosis, which are slightly longer than sutures. An example of syndesmosis are the connecting distal ends of the tibula and the fibula. If you were to ever get a high ankle sprain, you would be doing damage to your ankle syndesmosis.
Wow, thank you, Tyson. Now we'll move to Janasia, where she tells us about her career-ending injury.
Origination. Will you tell me a little bit about your injury?
Yes, while I was on a balance beam, I slipped and fell, breaking my hip bone and ripping my amphiarthrosis.
An amphiarthrosis joint is a cartilaginous joint which connects bones with cartilage. With these injuries, you have to be very careful since they are very close to your long bones, which contain epiphyseal plates, also known as your girth plates, which is a type of hyaline cartilage plate.
Thank you, Tyson. Now we'll move over to Parrish to learn more about Sedarian's career-ending injury. Parrish?
Thank you, Hamilton. Now, Sedarian, can you please tell us how your injury occurred?
Yeah, so I'm a former track runner, and I was doing one of my events. I was doing the long jump, and I was running, and before I actually jumped, I made the wrong step and fell and shattered my patella. And I had to get this implant called the self-extendable endoprosthesis. In this procedure, lengthening occurs at the extension portion. The telescopic sleeve of the implant undergoes the continual elongation of the limb. So it basically it limits my bending in my knee. So I walk kind of with a limp.
Okay. And when we get back from commercial, we will talk about synovial joints.
A synovial joint are joint bones with a fibrous joint capsule. The bones of a synovial joint are covered by a layer of hyaline cartilage that lines the joint ends of a bone with a smooth, slippery surface that does not bind them together. This articular cartilage functions to absorb shock and reduce friction during movement. Thanks for listening. Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Thank you, Parrish. Now we'll move back to Janasia, where she'll inform us on the different types of joints and their shapes. Janasia?
Thanks, Hamilton. Shapes of articulating bone surfaces determine what movement are allowed at a joint. Synovial joints can be classified as plane, hinge, pivot, condyloid, saddle, or ball and socket joints. Plane, articular surfaces are flat and only short slipping or gliding and is allowed. Movement is non-axial, which means it only has one axis, and only gliding is involved around the rotation of the axis. And that would be your wrist, only one moving. A hinge is classified as uniaxial, which is one joint as well. That would be your elbow, because it only moves this way. A pivot is rounded end of the bone that fits into sleep or ring of bone, and that would be also the inside or interior part of your elbow. Condyloid is the egg-shaped articular surface of one bone and fits into another. This is biaxial, which means it's two axes or axi, and these are your knuckle joints. And then saddle is convex concave areas like a saddle, biaxial, and these joints are in your thumbs. And then ball and socket is spherical, and its head fits into round sockets, which is multi-axial, which is freely moving, and this would be your shoulder or your waist, your hips.
Osteoarthritis is one of the most common forms of arthritis. It represents chronic degeneration of the synovial joints, which is the leading cause of chronic disabilities worldwide. OA is also known as a degenerative joint disease or degenerative arthritis. That is for my discussion on disease. Back to you, Hamilton.
Thank you. And that's all for today's edition of SportsCenter, Injury Edition.
See you next time.
making the wrong step and I fell and shattered my patella. And fuck. And I had to get this implant called the extendable implant called the this implant called the self-extendable endothesis. I just had this and enforce the knee bending, so it basically like it limits my bending in my knee.
Okay. Shortly thereafter, I was told
Elbow again. Condyloid egg shape. No, oh, it's swollen. Is it okay if I'm like looking down occasionally? Okay. Shapes are articular surfaces that are flat and they're only short, slipping. No, I can't. Thanks, Hamilton. Shapes of articulating bone surfaces determine the movement. Oh no.
Oh well, thank you for that, Tyson. Now we'll move to Janasia, where she tells us about.
Go.
Hi, and welcome back. For real?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now perish.
Oh yeah.